Terrarian in the Dungeon, Chapter 80, Fan Fiction, by Azazyel. Please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel for listening and patreon.com/Azazyel to read all of his stories. Blood and gore filled the red light district as Evilus took Freya's invasion inside as a challenge, and thus the red light district of Orario became a charnel house of slaughter. Freya's many adventures, all seemingly at level 3 at minimum, slaughtered Evilus agents clad in white cloaks while higher-ranking Evilus members killed civilians, and the lower-level adventurers that fought for their lives to just get the hell out of the red light district. Freya's gaze was slitted with displeasure, distaste, and fear at seeing her adventures cut down Evilus and Amazons alike, with the source of these feelings standing before her. No, she didn't feel displeasure, she felt true fear for Orario itself, at the sight in front of her. The silence. How are you still alive? Freya spoke as her face curdled not only at the bonfire of the ridiculously powerful soul in front of her, but just how that soul was seemingly twisted by its prior sickness and tainted by whatever had brought the most feared killer of the last war with Evilus back to life. Who said I am alive? Alepha asked softly as her closed eyes looked at where Freya was. Isn't this world just a hell of never-ending suffering? Humph, even in death I live eternally to be in agony, it seems. Althea muttered as she sighed before she seemingly looked past Freya and towards the Tower of Babel that sealed the dungeon. Althea sighed, shaking her silver hair that crossed over her voluptuous frame, that was covered in a revealing dress. Things are coming to the fore, and although our desire to push you all to become the greatest heroes has failed with only Otter pushing himself to match our talent. It's not enough. Althea spoke uncaringly as she looked at the Boaz, who was standing in front of his goddess protectively. Otter. You can tell, can't you? Althea asked softly, and Otter snorted with steam coming through his nose as his powerful body tensed with the ground beneath his feet shattering at the force pushing on it. You are stronger than me. No, you are just much stronger than you were previously. Otter grunted out as with a loud rasping noise, he unstrapped his large sword and wielded them in his hands. Correct, humph, it seems you aren't just a muscle head like Zold was, Althea said dismissively before smiling as she looked up at the stars. I wonder how Belle is doing. She whispered before looking back at Otter. Anyway, you have disappointed me for not leveling up for almost a decade, so die, Otter. Gospel. Althea whispered, and a semi-invisible sound wave was born that pushed toward Otter, Freya, and the other high-level Freya Familia adventurers that were hurriedly trying to dodge, with Otter carrying Freya as he charged to the side as the sound wave obliterated all in its path. The sound wave Althea sent out at the Freya Familia cut a ditch more than 5 meters deep and 10 meters wide into the ground as it carved a straight path for more than 100 meters, turning all that it touched into dust or wet debris depending if it was material or the hapless flesh that was in the way of the sound wave. Take Lady Freya. Otter roared as he tossed Freya into the air towards one of the Gulliver brothers that were priorly in the back of the procession to keep people from attacking their lady from the flank. So they had more time to use their super strength and speed to get away from the coming sound wave. Then, as Freya passed out of the range of the sound wave, Otter, Hedin, and Hogni met with the sound wave. Otter brought down his dual swords with a roar, and likewise, Hedin and Hogni met the sound wave with their magic. It's still not enough, Althea muttered as the green-tinged sound wave gained power, and with a shattering noise, Otter's dual almost fish-hooked sword shattered like a mirror, sending shards of ultra-hard adamantine into the large man's chest as shrapnel, but it wasn't over as Althea whispered. Lugio. And then the sound wave's brightness increased and then exploded violently. So you came to destroy Orario Aflia, the silence. Freya demanded to know furiously as she watched Otter stubbornly climb to his feet despite his chest armor being shattered and large gashes being torn across his body. Althea tilted her head to the side as her gloved hands creased into a fist as she spoke slowly. I don't like shouting. But no, Zold and I gave our lives to better Orario, but you all have rested upon your laurels and have done little since then. I have decided to claw my way out of my grave to do it myself. But the sight of Otter is an eyesore with how he has not leveled up despite him having stats at all, S rank at level 7. Althea snarled at the end as she stomped towards Otter, who held up his fists, unwilling to go down without a fight. I will send him to level up then. Freya said hurriedly as she caught the crux of the issue, Althea, that was glowing and clearly about to send another sound wave that would kill Otter, paused as she looked at Freya in interest, so the goddess of beauty continued. I will send him a pilgrimage and he will level up or die. I swear by my name of Freya as I have held my end of the deal with Hera for all these years, so you know my word is good. She offered, and Althea's hands that were at her sides pulled up to softly clap in front of her chest as she smiled at the goddess with her eyes still closed, having never found a Freya Familia worth looking at. Freya didn't even bother attempting to charm Althea due to her ridiculous willpower that exceeded God's own willpower, as she knew the moment her purple eyes glowed with her charm, she knew without a doubt that Althea would kill her regardless of any curse she could lay upon her from Tenkai for the killing of her mortal form. You hear that, otter? Go save a kingdom from a monster tide or something, and maybe you will be worthy of leveling up. But should I see you in Orario without leveling up, I will kill you where you stand for disappointing me for the third and last time. Althea said uncaringly to the plight of the Freya adventurers who were attempting to heal Hayden and Hogi, who had their arms and most of their bodies mangled by the exploding sound wave previously. Then Althea turned around and walked into the darkness of a nearby alleyway, leaving Freya's adventurers fearful of the future due to a stronger Althea having made a return, and more importantly, not looking to commit elaborate suicide again. For a moment, there was a harsh silence in the street where Freya's executive stood, but with a snarl, the goddess of beauty looked to the 5 Gulliver brothers who were still unharmed. Kill Ishtar's adventures and drag her to me by the end of tonight, now go. She ordered with her fingernails biting into her hands so hard that her hands bled crimson divine ichor onto the street. Then Freya turned around with Hayden and Hogni, who were mostly healed by Heath Velvet, guarding her as she made her way back to the Tower of Babel, while Otter silently and with great purpose walked out of Orario to find his fortunes in order to save his goddess from the Silence's displeasure.